Welcome back to Artists on Artists on Artists on Artists. This week, it's Lights, Camera, Scream. That's right. We are talking to some of the greatest horror filmmakers with movies that came out this year.
The horror genre has expanded over the years to include slasher, think pieces, and even commentary on culture. But these artists sure know how to get people in seats.
It isn't just a sheet over your face to be a ghost anymore. It's actually a lot more than that, as we will discuss in this panel.
Let's listen in.
Happy Halloween season, everyone.
Happy spooky
Halloween.
season. Happy spooky season.
You know, I like to break the ice. I know all of your work, but I don't know you.
Yes.
I like to break the ice when I'm with some filmmakers. Sometimes I like to ask, this room we're all in right now, if it were haunted, what would it be? You know, we're looking around. What's in this room?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Let's all craft a little story. What kind of creature would you put in this room? What do you guys think?
Ooh, I would put a principal teacher with his throat gagged out.
Gagged out.
That's what I would do. And his throat is exploding. And he's sitting in the corner and he's telling us it's time for detention. Meanwhile, we're looking at the blood coming from his nodes.
So he gagged so much his throat came out?
Yes.
That's awesome, man.
That's what I would put in the corner.
That's
That's
awesome.
so creative.
What would you put in the corner?
Well, I want to put something in the corner that is so scary, so deeply terrifying, so bone-chilling. It is the scariest creature you could imagine. It is a single crow.
Oh, interesting. That's awesome. That's awesome. A single crow.
Thank you.
I would put maybe big guys with swords and stuff. You
Big
know?
guys?
Big guys with swords, you know?
Wow.
Incredible. What would you put?
I would put my signature serial killer, Fred Franklin.
Not
of
Fred
course.
Franklin.
Fred Franklin with this scary gray mask.
A
Really
revolutionary
big.
him.
Fred Franklin, one of the scariest Halloween creatures
We
you've
love it.
ever seen.
Fred Franklin is why I got into this. So
You're blowing smoke up my piss hole.
It's
Don't say that kind of stuff.
very true. Is why I got
He's
into
blowing
this.
your piss hole.
That's crazy.
My grandson wears the mask every. I was going to say Christmas.
Don't you guys feel like Halloween
mean,
is our
Halloween.
Christmas? Don't you feel
I
that?
do. That's what I do.
A lot of
feel that
presents
way.
I receive on Halloween. We didn't even introduce ourselves. We only introduce ourselves by our creatures.
Let's do it, knuckleheads.
Okay. Well, who wants to start?
Well, I'm Marty Frank. I am a horror filmmaker. I've made many films over the years. They all deal with scary, terrifying creatures like a man in a bald sort of hat and cape, or a black cat in the middle of the night. I've been doing this since 1954, and I
Wow.
just came out with my first movie in 50 years.
We bow.
Wow.
We bow. We bow.
Wow.
That's
Thank
amazing,
you.
Marty. We're happy to have you back.
Hey, thank you for having me.
A triumph homecoming.
Thank you.
I wrote my thesis on the gasping woman when I was in college.
Such a
The
good
gasping
film.
woman.
I think
That
the
is
It
gasping
always
movie.
makes me laugh.
I think The Gasping Woman was one of my first horror films I saw.
It was amazing. How did you guys
thank
do?
you. Thank you.
How did you guys do the big worm coming out of her mouth? I know you did everything practical.
Well,
That really wide worm.
yeah, you know, back then we weren't Avatar, we weren't The Last Airbender, we weren't anything that had any sort of special effects.
or connection to the word avatar.
We didn't have it. So what we did have was an open mouth of the human body. And what we also had was a shoelace. And so we would pull the shoelace out of her gaping mouth as she went, ah! And it produced the most bone-chilling screams in the theater you could ever imagine. People were screaming and crying and throwing up.
It's crazy that back then you would make a shoelace into a worm.
Well, back then were shoelaces just a lot thicker,
Yeah, well, we had to. It was the war.
and that's probably it. It was the war.
Right
they were
after the war,
amazing.
1950s. Right after the war.
Korean War, right in the middle of it.
Yeah, we're in the middle of it, and then we had the shoelaces had to get bigger, and then they got smaller.
Because it's like inflation and the shoelaces. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. So when the wartime happens, the shoelaces get bigger and thicker to accommodate the needs of the men in the army. But when we're in peacetime, we could get to relax a little bit, do counterculture. Now, the United States has had thick shoelaces now for the past 60 years.
Blessed be.
They're not as thick as the worm in that movie, though. I'll say that.
It was a thick worm.
Yeah.
It was a thick worm.
What about you?
very
Not to be gauche, but am I sensing an accent?
No.
What?
No. Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was worried.
I was freaking out.
No.
What's in my ears?
It must be the worm in your ears because that's what's happening to you.
That's incredible.
Because there's no accent, but it is.
Dibs on that movie.
I am
You're okay.
Estonian director within a third of us.
With him?
Within?
Within.
With an M at the end or an N?
Within.
Within?
With an aim.
With him?
With an aim.
With an N.
With an aim.
With him.
H.
An H.
Knucklehead.
With an H.
What, you know this? You know what he's saying?
No, I'm calling him a knucklehead.
Okay.
What? What is
Busting our
knuckle
chaps.
head? Anyway,
Okay,
so I am the Estonian director. I made a movie this year which has gotten a lot of praise and a lot of love. It is called Witches, and a Bunch of Witches.
Witches, and a Bunch of Witches was such an incredible opening weekend. It was like when that came out, it felt like everyone was rushing to the theater. I don't think I met one person at the theater who wasn't seeing Witches, and a bunch of other witches.
People were absolutely just witch struck. I remember that. Everyone and it was exciting to see because it was originally an independent film, right?
It was independently funded, and then A24 saw it at a film festival in Estonia, and they picked it up. And since then, life has gotten crazy. You know, it's been so wonderful. And I just want to say thank you to all the fans of Witches, and a Bunch of Witches. In Estonia, it means something completely different, but in America, they made us use that title. So that's good. And
It's a great title.
Thank you so much. You know, it's kind of a movie that it changes the scope of a lot of things, and it's about a lot of things. So I like that people like it, you know?
You say it's about a lot of things. What's one of the things it's about?
Oh, it's about so many things. Witches.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's one of
yeah.
the things
Sure.
it's about, you know?
Yeah.
That's a
Oh,
bunch of the things
yeah.
it's about, sounds like.
It's a
Yeah.
bunch. Well, mostly it's about witches, yes.
Yeah.
Witches, and a Bunch of Witches. It's primarily a story of witches. A story of witches.
I got a lot more from it. Maybe we should. We all saw it, right?
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Right,
I
of
think we
course.
should talk about because I got a lot of the immigrant experience in America. Was what I was feeling, the horror of being an outsider. And were you guys getting that?
I was getting a lot of age where different witches versus had different ages, and it was like, wow, ageism does run our country.
Yeah, that's good. I could see that.
I was getting a lot of friendship.
Oh.
In the beginning of the movie, 3 of the girls were friends before all the witch stuff happened. And so I felt that was a really strong and interesting thing to see. I don't see a lot of friendship in movies.
Wow, really? I feel like almost every movie has friendship in it, but that's great.
No, I
mine.
don't. You don't see. You
Not in
don't
horror
see
films,
very
yeah.
much.
You don't see a lot of friendship in horror films.
Because you can tell a lot of in horror movies, when there's friends, you know that one of them is going to die, and you
Yeah.
can tell that within that friend group, this isn't going to be a happy friendship. But with your movie, I really felt like it was going to be a happy friendship for a moment before they turned into witches and ate each other's faces off.
Okay, spoiler.
Oh, sorry.
You know, and I like
Strike
to
it from the
yes.
record.
Put a coin in the jar.
You
And I like
knucklehead.
to hear these things because for me, you know, making it in Estonia, we have our own approach to film and we have our own, you know, approach to life. So hearing that you got that it was an immigrant story and that you got it was friendship, the artist does not intend, but sometimes the art takes over the intention.
Incredible.
Oh, yes.
That's interesting.
Well, so wait. I want to know more about
Yeah.
you. You're one of my biggest heroes.
No,
Truly,
please.
to sit with you is a dream come true.
Oh, come on, that's enough. The name is Jack Craftsman. I am the creator of Mischief Night. Mischief Night 1, Mischief Night 2, Mischief Night Day, Mischief Night into morning.
Mischief Night into Morning.
Yeah.
Mischief Night into Morning was such a good movie for me.
Thank you.
It's crazy that it takes place all during dawn.
Yeah.
Incredible.
We shot it only during golden hour, too. It took us
At
months.
dusk.
At dusk.
Only
We shot at dusk. We shot dusk for dawn. And not a lot of
Completely
people
different
did
lighting.
that.
You must have had to take out all the gold.
I caught some mistakes.
Well, this
where
was
it
the
really felt
70s.
like dusk.
No way. We gotta sit down, buddy. I want to sit with you, and I
Listen,
want to watch Mischief Night
Let's
into
go
dawn.
frame by frame. I will tell you when it's dawn and when it's dusk.
There is no way. You're not gonna be able to catch it, old man. You're not gonna.
14:32.
The time code?
That's the time code. I want you to look it up.
Okay. I'm gonna write that down, and I'll check later.
Write
I
that
don't-
down. Go watch your movie.
Sorry to tell you, I don't memorize my own time codes in my movies, but I'll take a look.
How embarrassing.
And that was in the 70s. There's a lot
Well.
of joints that have been smoking since then, if you know what I mean. You
Knucklehead.
can catch that. I like when you say that.
What? Sorry, you seemed confused as well. What do you mean by that?
Joints that have been smoking?
Yeah,
A
what?
little
what is-
innuendo on a certain
Yes,
thing
what
that I
is
do.
that?
What
What's
does this
going
mean?
on?
What does this mean?
You guys know what I'm talking about?
No, what
If
is
I were to
that?
say there's some joints that have been smoking, I wonder if you could pick up on that.
Say what? No, like a baseball joint? Like a
Like a
A
restaurant?
baseball joint.
I understand that.
You know, like a baseball
joint.
joint. Yes,
what
a
do you
baseball.
mean by baseball joint?
A baseball joint is the thing they hit the balls with.
Yeah.
A baseball bat?
No,
it's
it's
a
No,
joint.
it's a wooden.
It's a joint.
It's a long thing. You know, it's a long thing you hold in your
They
hand.
throw the baseball and then whack it with the joint.
Am I having a stroke? A baseball joint? You all know what that means?
Yeah.
Look,
but
I'll tell you
In
later off
Estonia, it's called
camera.
brus, which means the joint.
That's wrong. I don't want to tell you right now on microphone what I mean by joints being smoking, but I'll tell you after.
Well,
okay?
I would love to know about that because I don't know how you'd smoke one of those. It's just solid wood.
I hope you're not hitting someone with those joints.
I'm not referring to baseball bats. I'm not. I'm simply not. I'm stunned you don't know what I'm talking about, to be honest. Mischief Night is my movie. I love it. I, of course, created the world-famous horror character, Fred Franklin. He comes back this year, Mischief Night, the next night. And we're really excited.
Incredible.
We're really excited. Fred Franklin's return. He is a spooky guy. He is supernatural. Didn't start supernatural. Became supernatural. Died, came back. Died, came back. Died, came back. And he's back. So we're really happy to have Fred Franklin back. The spookiest name in Halloween movies.
I have to say, I love his character design. The fact that he wears a water polo helmet
Yeah.
is so scary. It's
With-
so scary.
It is
Water
different.
polo helmet, and he wears regular polo outfit.
Absolutely creative.
It's the
Terrifying.
mismatch.
It's
the
mis-
mismatch.
You
It
think he
sends
should be
chills
riding
down my
horses.
spine.
You think he should be
100%.
riding horses.
They did a poll of who's the scariest thing ever. You should see this poll. You should see
What
this
was
poll.
else was on this poll? I think I saw it though. It was terrorists.
It was terrorists,
Yeah, Reuters
Dad.
put
Terrorists?
this out.
spiders, losing your parents at an early age, Fred Franklin.
And who won?
That's the top four. Fred Franklin was number 4.
Wow.
Yeah. Number 5.
They did this with the
was
census,
arthritis.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
They
was
did
part
this-
of the census. I don't know this, but I
They
heard.
went door to door and they said, "What's the scariest thing ever?" And Fred Franklin made the list. I'm honored. I'm honored to have created FF. Fred Franklin, the scariest name in movies. I love him.
You keep saying that. Is that sort of like? I feel like this is more of a merchandise than it is a movie.
I know. You just keep
Where's
saying
the
that.
line?
Like, it's kind of like you're trying to win the genre a little bit.
I'm not trying to win, but if we're looking at the stats, I have one.
I will say it's my favorite Halloween when you see all the little Fred Franklins with the water polo helmets and the polo gear
Yeah.
running around. It's so exciting to see.
It's kind of like you're trying to make him Mickey Mouse of horror. You know what I mean?
He's not Mickey Mouse. Look.
Isn't there a ride across his face?
No, there's not a ride across his face.
Yeah,
ride
isn't it shaped like his face?
No, his face isn't shaped like a ride. This is another stroke moment.
no,
Okay,
there's
wait
a ride.
No, there's a ride.
Hold on. Let her finish.
There's a ride at Knott's Berry Farm. I'm hearing it's a big circle shaped like the head.
No, you've got it all twisted, old man. It's not at Knott's Berry Farm. It's its own land. Okay? Fred Franklin Land is opening soon.
But it's called Fred Franklin
So it
Land,
is-
the face of horror.
Well, Fred Franklin Land is a land in Mischief Night World.
Right. I didn't catch that in the first movie. The first movie seemed to be a little more about horror and a little less about. No, I won't
Well,
say
it didn't exist in the movies yet. It exists
right.
in real life.
Well, of
Old
course.
man.
Of course,
It exists in real life. It wouldn't
hey.
have existed in the movies yet. Fred Franklin was just the beginning of terror at that point.
Listen, son, I just don't want you to get away from why you started doing this place.
Oh, you don't have to worry
Who's
about me.
that little boy who had a dream of
Holy
a movie
moly.
and a story he wanted to tell?
This is a really old man mentoring a slightly less old man.
It's beautiful to see. Can I say
You
though?
are what, 60?
Marty, I haven't been called son since 1980. I am stunned.
Listen, you'll understand when you're my age of 75.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing 10 years down the barrel here. You can't lose that little boy.
I won't lose him.
You can't lose that
I
little
won't
boy
lose
with
him.
a dream.
I won't lose him because you know who kills little boys? Fred Franklin. The
There
face
he
of
is.
terror.
Boy, do you know how to
That's
plug your
fun.
guy.
That's
Okay.
good. That's good. I gotta
All
steal
right.
that.
Who's freaking guy over here?
Oh.
Who are you?
Hey guys, I'm Cynthia Natalie.
Hi, Cynthia.
The one, the only. I how do you say? I think BuzzFeed quoted me as the girl who never left high school. I saw Scream when I was young, and I was like 8 or 9, and my parents have a picture of me pointing to the TV and going, "That's what I want to do, mommy. I
So-
want to do that."
So
In the
really
picture.
quick, just taking it back. BuzzFeed quoted you as saying the girl who never.
No, BuzzFeed quoted me, the girl who never left high school,
They
because
call
all
you
my
that.
films take place in high school. Yes.
And to follow up on the picture,
Yes. Yes. Let's go in order. Yeah.
so there's a picture of you saying, "I want to do this for the rest of my
Yes,
life."
it's creepy as hell.
That's
So you
It's creepy as hell. I've been touched by the devil, as they say.
I will say
Ooh.
I love your films.
Thank
they
you.
are so good in terms of
Yes.
high school
Thank
drama
you.
combined with the horror of
I
high school.
appreciate it. Well, I'm so grateful for Stephen King for giving me the shot at redoing Carrie. I got to redo that
Yes.
story this year.
It was so fun and puppy.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it. We just reimagined her. We reimagined her and who she is and where she's from. Same title. Stephen really wanted to call it Carrie, just the same thing.
I thought it was so interesting that you changed it from the original plot to be about a girl who was heavy set and then lost a bunch of weight at the beginning. That was so
was
interesting.
No, for sure. I pitched to Stephen many different arcs for our girl, for Carrie. And Fat Camp was the one that stuck.
interesting.
It really did. And I,
Steven wanted it.
yeah, so I pitched.
And he really wanted that. So rude,
Doesn't he
Steven.
understand that we don't talk like that anymore? None of us talk like that anymore. It's
No.
weird and it's out of touch of him. And for me, an old man, to say that.
No, it took me a lot. I don't know. I don't want to make this. I don't want to get too controversial here, but I do know a lot of horror directors interviewed for the job to redo Carrie, and I know some of them are sitting at this table.
I did.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, so I knew when I walked in there.
I threw the interview.
You threw it on purpose.
Yeah, I didn't want it. They started asking me all these questions that I didn't understand, and then they're talking about streaming this.
I felt
and
the exact
Netflix
same way.
That.
Yes,
And I
exact
went,
the same
what
way.
in God's hell is going on?
Oh, that's adorable. Well, I knew that I had to have an edge, so I brought it to him. I said, Carrie as a reptile, Carrie not in the Catholic Church, but Mormonism. And what stuck?
Ooh.
Fat Camp. So really excited about that one, and really grateful for Kelly Clarkson and her tour de force performance.
It's amazing.
And she really can play high school. I did buy it.
No, that's
was
what we
great.
needed. It's really fun to talk. I think this is a great question for the group. It's so fun how the genre and the audiences have changed. Like I look at the old Carrie and the little amounts of blood and gore that was allowed then, or was like appreciated, versus now. If anything, I'm doing too much. I am covering my frames with blood, guts, and textbooks.
They're allowing you to do it.
Right? And
Yeah.
these streaming services, these audiences, they just want more and more and more. And sometimes
do.
I think, how far can I go?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you know what's funny is I was also up for that job for Carrie.
Of course.
And I actually got it for a brief moment in time. And for a little bit, it was going to be Carrie meets Fred Franklin.
I'll
It's
let
so
your
interesting
That
because
sounds horrible.
for me, like I was up for that job, but only because they had seen my film just for a second. And I was so confused with American, because when I make a film, I'm trying to, do something I don't even know. So when I presented it, it's like this,
No,
What?
I don't know what you mean by
What
that.
did
not
you
at
say?
all.
What do you? Can you kind of put meaning into what your words?
Yeah,
are?
I feel
yeah.
like that's very clear what I just said.
So you got the you
When I'm
interviewed for the job.
when you're making film and as an artist, you've got to push yourself. And when you have to be up for a job, you kind of have to change where the film is.
For sure, you have to give it a lens in which what is your.
That's not what I'm
lens.
saying. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
You have to go by your own path. Is that what you're saying?
Not really.
Okay.
I'm trying to do the math. Is it? You
I'm already
can't
doing
be
math over there.
afraid of the. Excuse me, son.
It's rude to make an old man do math. I don't know what happens in your country, but in America, we let our old men rest.
Old men always doing math in Estonia. It's
I
national.
can
Really?
It's
still
It's
very
just-
do
proudful.
math. Son,
just
your
rude here.
our P card is still fresh. I've had mine for a while, so don't you disrespect me.
Now,
Oh,
you sir, when you
listen.
watch movies, do you have the time code on the movie?
Yeah,
Because
I keep
I'm-
it on time code.
You're such
So
a
I
numbers
actually-
knucklehead.
I import it into Frame.io. And
Okay.
then, because
You imported into Frame.io.
The very specific editing software used mostly internally at digital media companies.
yes,
Such
exactly.
a niche reference. I don't think
Exactly.
anybody will understand what you're talking about.
Frame.io.
No, I mean it's Frame.io. Listen, it's what people use internally when they're editing things to send to drafts for approval, and clickbait sort of places.
Sure.
Pop sugar and the like.
Yes. So you do that so you can time code the movies. Like
Yeah,
I'm
because I have sort of a textbook number memory. I could tell you what happened at any given time code.
okay.
Of any
Did you
given
see my movie?
Yes, 1832. Carrie gets her first period.
Yeah.
Kelly Clarkson's performance of that period scene.
Tour de force.
Frightening.
And what I love
So
too,
young.
So young, so scary.
Cynthia, what I love too is that you took the opening scene from the original Carrie and you pushed it 18 minutes in.
That's
Well, the first 17 minutes was just credits and songs.
We needed context. We needed context for that moment.
100%. And
Yeah,
I'll say,
yeah.
I told Steven, I was like, here's my pitch for the movie. Let's do it at Fat Camp and let's add 20 minutes to the front, 20 minutes to the back.
That's a very old film technique. We used to do that all the time. When we couldn't figure out the machine, we'd just take 20 minutes from another movie, slap it on, and hit the machine a couple times and let her work.
I'm vintage, as you say. But I really want to know, like, do you guys feel like you are continuously pushing the boundaries in which you could put your audiences in?
Well, that is, I love that because that is my goal. When I want people to see my movie, I want them to walk out going, what the fuck did I just watch? And I think with this film, witches, and a bunch of witches, that is what happened, where people didn't understand. They were so shocked they started adding meaning to the grotesque things that they were seeing when those witches first slept with that 11-year-old boy and laid him out and then flayed him as he screamed for his mother, who had become a witch.
No, it was like a fillet of fish.
It was like a fillet of fish, and we did a lot of research with fish to figure out how to fillet that boy. And people are saying, that's a metaphor for youth dying or the mother-the-son relationship. Honestly, I just did it to flay a boy.
Yeah.
But did you think that there was a part of your audience that wouldn't be able to handle it?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I thought it was shot tastefully enough to where it was good,
Times have changed. I'll tell you what. In the 70s, when the first Mischief Night came out, we were given an NC-17 rating because we had Fred Franklin kill a single woman. They said that
She didn't have a
She
husband.
didn't have a husband. And they said only married women should be killed. That's what the censors said. It should be NC-17 if married women aren't being killed, if single women. So we had to superimpose, we had to CGI, and it was early. We had to go frame by frame in the 70s. And we had to draw on a wedding ring.
You think it would be the opposite because what's really sad and scary is a widow. You know what I mean?
But you think about these executives and they're so miserable in their lives.
Right,
And they
right.
say, I just wish I could watch my wife get killed. That's what they used to say to me.
You think
Can
that's
we
what
talk
happened?
about how miserable these executives are?
Let's talk about executives.
Let's talk about it.
They are sad sacks.
Mm.
They are sad sacks.
God, are they sad?
They're sad. But it's changed, We couldn't show a knife going down. We could only show a knife coming up.
Incredible.
Yeah.
There was all sorts of stuff,
I mean, my movies, it's changed so much. My movie was rated R for a scary wind blowing by. It was too much.
A wind you can't even see that on
A wind
screen.
you can't even see, and now I watch wind in movies all the time, and I'm chilled to the
What
bone.
movies are
and
you
there
seeing
are
with wind?
kids in there.
Yes, I saw wind
There
in a
are
Pixar
kids.
movie.
There are children in the theater.
I saw wind in Up, and I went,
In
"Oh my
Up.
God, they are giving these kids a lot to swallow."
I mean, we're just walking around. They're like baby adults running around.
Marty, I remember reading about when that movie was a ghastly encounter, right?
Yes,
That's what it was
ghastly
called,
encounter.
with the wind. I remember reading about when the wind came on the movie, people ran out of the theater because they thought the wind was coming after them. And
Yeah, it was 41:35 when the wind came in, and everyone leapt to their seats and went, "I'm so scared. I have to get my jacket." And then they
I will
left.
say very scary wind though. It's the way it lightly
It's
shudders
haunting.
the
It's
curtains.
sinister.
You can tell it's there.
Because back then, you could be rated R for a general feeling of foreboding, you know? And it's the foreboding that I think we're missing in these movies. So a lot of times it's kill, 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 blood, 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 destroy,
That is
destroy,
what I've heard
destroy.
about witches,
guilty.
witches, and a bunch of witches. It's less about the killing and more about the foreboding, where you do not know what's going to happen
Yeah.
to these witches and to this town.
Mine's about the killing. I mean, in the new one, it's mostly Fred Franklin sitting in a room, people coming in and saying, "What's this?" And then he kills them. Someone else. So we realize it's cheaper if we keep Fred in the same place. So we get people come to him.
Incredible.
That's cheaper. So you don't have a big budget for these films.
No, it's getting lower and lower every day. Putting so much money into Mischief Night World. It's just trying to figure out the books.
So
Is
how
that because you're
ahead.
are you financing your Fred Franklin world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it. Passion Project, GoFundMe. I was on GoFundMe and I was on Kickstarter and I was on.
You made a theme
that
park
other one.
off of GoFundMe.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, my daughter helped me set it up.
What
It
a
was
tour de
45.
force.
Yeah.
How much was the GoFundMe for?
The GoFundMe, we got $8 million because get the face of horror, Fred Franklin, run from him in real life.
Ugh, a tour de force.
Why do you talk like a movie poster?
Why not?
Incredible.
Oh, touche. I guess.
Absolutely incredible.
So
got
can
me
I ask
there.
a question? Because I feel, most of my work has been in shorts and the long, more documentary and then long Estonian movies you probably have never heard of. How do you guys approach making scary on the camera to capture it in the box and, to hit it out of the park with your joint? How do you do that?
You're asking, how do we make our movies so scary?
Yes. How do you approach
got one.
scary?
I think fear is tension.
Yes, exactly.
I think fear is the bell's about to ring and we have to go to homeroom. I think fear is dangling something in the audience's face and not giving it to them fully.
Yeah.
Right? I think
Yeah.
That's awesome.
we have to really zone in on what you're giving your audience. I don't know if you've touched that in your documentaries or
No, we haven't.
so yeah.
No, I think, and it's interesting that you say that about tension because your movie, the moments of tension are about 10 seconds long, but so much happens in your movie in such a short
No,
amount
for
of
sure.
time.
For
the,
sure.
The time for the characters to feel tension. I was impressed with how much you get in 30 seconds. I mean, this world
Yeah.
moves so fast now.
Well, that's the new thing that I'm learning is that I am trying to write and direct films for kids whose attention span is a half a second, Marty. A half a second, Marty.
God,
A half a second, Marty.
I
It's
can't believe it. Say it again.
a half a second, Marty.
Ah!
And
I feel like you got it on the last one finally.
yeah, I think I did too.
Yeah, no, it,
It's
yeah,
introducing
no,
monsters. It's introducing weapons, and then getting rid of it immediately.
I love that in your movie, how many monsters would just disappear and then knives and guns, boom, 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 stab, 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 gone in an instant.
Just
you know?
yeah.
Your movie Dissection, where the
thank you.
frogs that are they're cutting open in high school come to life and cut them open.
Yeah.
I loved how every 15 seconds some frog would pop out of the screen somewhere.
We had to.
Yeah.
Because I got the note when I was writing Dissection. I was young, and we got the note that this script isn't exciting enough. This script is boring.
Yeah.
So I said, jump scares. Let's just do it.
You did a frog pass.
I did a frog pass. Do you guys ever find that the answer isn't in the plot? It's actually in the jump scares. Like, maybe my plot doesn't make sense. Maybe it's dull, per se.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just shove some scary, unexpected shit on screen and see what it does.
Sorry to tell you, but, meaning and power and thought is a luxury.
It really is.
When it comes to horror films, Fred Franklin, the face of horror, he's not saying anything. He doesn't have anything to say. All he has to say is, I'm back to life again. Why am I back to life? I don't know, some fucking witch or some shit. Because I have people to kill. Because we want to watch people die.
How long does it take for you to write these scripts?
It takes me months, actually.
Oh, really?
It takes me months because I do a heavy pass where I always try to, I write 300 kills for every movie. And then I pick the best kills. Because I don't want to write to a kill. I want to write a bunch of kills and get the luxury of picking a kill.
Yes.
1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or
It's
5.
like American Idol that way.
Exactly. The ideas are my contestants. And they come in, and we have Hollywood Week, and I cut them down. And then they, one by one, get a chance to spotlight. We do different themes. Oh, this one fits a little bit more for Disney Song Night.
Yeah,
This
wow.
one fits a little bit more for 70s Song Night.
Yeah.
And then they all come together. Because you can't have, I got stabbed in the face. I also got stabbed in the face. You know what I mean?
You have to change it.
Stabbed in the face, stabbed in the groin, stabbed in a dress, stabbed in a suit. It's all different types of flavors and textures that come together.
And I'll say justification is a luxury. You are 100% right because with Dissection,
Yeah.
there was no reason why what they dissected came to life. There was no reason.
Right.
And every article was like, why is this? Why? But yeah.
Did you start from meaning? I mean, you were in the 50s,
Yeah.
you were around such incredible people like Billy Wilder, Tennessee Williams movies were being made left and right.
Yes.
You were trying to be meaningful?
Like, did you justify that wind?
Yeah, that was tough. The critics kind of came at me for the win because they thought it was gratuitous. They thought it was kind of disgusting and offensive. They thought it was too scary to be around people. And so I think I tried to provoke meaning because, I was drawing on philosophers like Kant and
What part of Kant is wind for you?
that'll be page 47, paragraph 12.
Of
Thank
which
you for
book?
asking.
Which one?
Book number 14.
I love Kant.
Yes, exactly. Me too.
You're saying that the wind was a means to an end.
Wow.
It was, yes, what I'm saying is that the scariest thing is contemplating life itself. That's something terrifying, and we were more in touch with that back then. We could say, oh, this feeling of not supposed to be here very much is so terrifying. But I will say, this new movie I have coming out this year, which I realize I haven't brought up at all.
Right.
So it's called Bad Crow. And I think I tried to make it very close to how I made my old movies, but, the studio sort of got a hold of it in a weird way. So I would say the first half of the script is very me, and then the second half is very slasher, very CGI, very, cracking corny jokes left and right. So it's a real mismatch of tone, I'll say. Listen, I'm not promoting anything anymore. I'll trash it. I want to be honest.
Respect to you.
I don't think my movie is very good.
Ooh.
And I think it's brave to come on here, do hours and hours and hours of press junkets, and tell the truth. Don't see my movie. It's out now. It's in the theaters. Make sure you avoid a movie theater on August 14th.
Gosh, that's so sad.
That sounds like a threat a little bit, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, it's
Avoid
really
movie
You
theaters.
don't want to be anywhere near a movie theater on August 14th. Let me say
if
that.
you're near the theater, you can pop into Mischief Night Revisited, right?
Right.
Yeah.
incredible.
Look,
Yeah, I mean, buy
just
the
to
ticket.
go off of this, I have to be honest, because I feel similar. I made Witches, and a bunch of witches as a comedy. This in Estonia.
I don't believe that.
Everybody's laughing in Estonia. This is G-rated.
Oh, so
It's
you're
good
not
time.
you're not a horror movie.
No, and I think it's weird interpretation in the American culture to interpret my jokes as a horror, which is sad.
But they're filleting that kid.
So funny.
It's funny.
It's very funny when you think about it.
I mean, I like it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
But in general, Fred Franklin uses a woman's teeth as a xylophone with his knife. I do weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like
Yeah.
that. It's very funny.
You know what I've been doing lately is with the CGI. I'd love to talk about CGI, Marty, because it's hard to film and get really good responses from your actors when you're doing CGI and you're like, okay, this monster's going to come in and I need you to be scared of him, right? And you have a stand-in for this monster. So I get my PAs to do some background, and I'll find an ex of the actors or somebody they absolutely hate, and I'll hide them
Kelly
on
Clarkson's
set.
father.
Yes, so Kelly Clarkson has an estranged relationship with her father. So I brought him on set, hit him in the back, and then when I was like, "We're gonna do this CGI shot. I need you to imagine something really awful." Her dad came out, and she said, "Not you again, motherfucker," and that's what we use in the teaser.
Why did you hit him in the back? Did it rile him up, or
What?
Why'd you hit him in the back?
I was thinking the same
I was
thing.
wondering about the
What,
hitting
did it
of the
rile
back.
him up? It sounded like you hit him in the back and then you did something else.
Oh, I'm so
And
sorry.
then he entered.
I hid him, like I put him away.
Oh.
Oh, you hit
And
it.
also, I mean,
You
with
hit him
everyone.
in the back.
Because your
and then
hand
something
motion was
else
also
happens.
like somebody that is slapping a back.
Well, I mean, of course, I pat my actor's back all the time,
Oh,
going,
of course.
Kill it.
Director Pat, of course.
"They hit on the
Director
back."
Pat, it's very professional.
Yeah.
Because we're doing it back then.
Yes, in Estonia we had
Oh,
director
absolutely.
hug. It was beautiful.
That's gorgeous. We should be doing that.
I'm not allowed to hug my actresses anymore.
Okay, stop putting air quotes on actresses and
I-
call them what they are, actors.
Okay.
Do hate the finger quotes. That's one thing about modern society I cannot stand.
The
We didn't
finger
do
quotes?
Finger quotes?
Yeah, we didn't do finger quotes so much back then. Now it's
That's what you hate
gratuitous.
about what he said.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate the way his fingers folded that way. It's obscene.
So why can't you hug your actresses, your actors?
Well, I can't hug them because I don't consider them actors. It's easy
Oh,
to
so
die.
you only give hugs out to the boys.
Dying is easy. It's inevitable. We're all going to die. It's not easy. It's not hard to die. It's easy to continue living.
I read something that the Oscars won't allow you in.
They won't allow me in because I am bad to be around.
Oh, he did it again. I hate it.
Sorry, does this bother you?
Yeah, I hate it when they move like
I gotta
that.
write this down. If this is something that upsets you and grosses you out, maybe Fred
oh.
Franklin's doing some air quotes in the next one.
Oh, God. I
He's
won't be
bringing-
watching it.
Okay, well,
I certainly won't.
I'll send you the frame I own.
And good luck. Send me the access code and the password so that I can get really mad. Sometimes I do want to just be riled up by something. Makes you feel alive.
What riled you up this week?
Oh, this week there was a lady at the doctor's office and she was tapping her foot. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop tapping. It's obscene. It's horrible. I hate it when people move their extremities in a different way.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
Hands are for holding, and feet are for walking. Anything in between that, unnecessary.
That is beautiful, though. Hands are for holding.
I did a
love
stint
that.
writing for Hallmark in the 70s when I took a
Oh.
break from
That's-
movies.
I've seen some of your, but you did some Hallmark movies too.
Oh, yeah,
I've
well,
seen some of those, and
Oh.
those
I
are
did that too.
those are frightening.
I meant the cards, but I also did the movies. A lot of my
Yes.
cards were adapted into movies.
Yes, I really loved. So you lost your son.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was beautiful.
So you lost your
Yes.
son, and oh, I remember you did a Hallmark movie. Today's the day you are a bat mitzvah.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Today's the day you are a bat mitzvah,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes,
Today's
well, that's
the
what you
day
say.
You are a bat mitzvah. I actually had to release that one under a pseudonym because I didn't feel comfortable with the way a lot of it was presented. So I used like a J.K. Rowling sort of alias.
Like Bad Crow. Like
yeah,
you're not
like
comfortable
Bad
with it.
Crow.
Can I tell you, the movie that I had my first kiss during was To My Grandson, So You're 8. I loved that movie. I loved
Your
that
first
movie.
kiss to it.
Yeah, it was a gorgeous movie. Mary Tyler
Oh,
Moore, never been
wow.
better. She was incredible in that.
Yeah, she
Incredible.
was great. I can't believe you kissed during that horrible scene. When they...
I didn't tell you what scene I kissed in.
Well, there's
Oh.
only one scene to kiss in that movie.
There's only really one scene that you can kiss to.
What's the time code on it?
Oh, that'll be. Oh, was it? No, it's 48:17.
Okay.
That's the scene that it's okay to. So you
The
go.
midpoint, if you will.
You
Oh,
go
right in the
log
middle.
into your Frame.io within your company.
I don't have my grandson, so you're 8 on Frame.io.
I don't know why you
Well-
would.
Well, I'll get it to you.
I have a question. There's going to be a lot of young horror filmmakers that are listening, trying to figure out how they become horror filmmakers themselves, or filmmakers in general for you. If you had any advice, what would you give?
I'd say get yucky.
Great advice.
Very good.
Explain.
I'd say do something and get so freaking yucky with it. You know what I mean? Like, make
Explain.
make it Yuck Fest 2020. Make it yucky, yucky, yucky. I'd say get that monster and make her yucky and make her a her. That's what I'll say. I'll say think outside the box.
That's pretty good.
That's great.
I'd say start small. You know, start building the blocks of horror. Take some shadow puppets. See if you can scare your friends with them. If you can't do that, then maybe you shouldn't be making a movie. You know, you got to start with the basics. Stand behind a fire, make some shadows, tell a monster story, talk candidly about the fear of being alone.
That's such a good piece of advice to scare those around you.
Scare those around you, and then only then can you scare others in
Amazing.
an arena.
Is that why there was a big mud footprint on my backpack when I was in here after I left to go to the restroom?
Well, yeah, maybe.
You son of a bitch, you were trying to scare me.
Well,
You think you can scare
I mean, I
Jack
guess.
Craftsman?
I will say
That's also yucky.
nothing is
mud.
more
Like, you
nothing
could be
is more
afraid.
scarier than a big mud footprint
Oh,
on a
yuck
backpack.
I don't like
city.
it. I don't like it.
Gross.
Listen, you can't
Yeah.
blame me for trying.
It scared me. I said, "What the fuck?
Oh,
Who stepped
good.
on my backpack?"
Oh,
Incredible.
good.
I was more worried about if somebody broke some of the glasses I keep in there.
Glasses.
What kind of glasses you keeping
Just
in there,
different
son?
types of reading glasses. I have 30 to 35 reading glasses in there in case I lose them.
Oh, so they're all the same prescription.
Yeah, just reading glasses. Just buy them at Walgreens. Every time I see a stack of reading glasses anywhere, any drugstore, I buy as many as I can find because I'm losing them all the time.
That's psychotic. That's absolutely psychotic.
Okay. All right, old man. You trying to look around when you don't have your reading glasses. You try being at a restaurant and trying to get something on a menu, but your wife has to order for you, and she orders you the heart healthy thing when you want a steak. I'm not letting her do that to me again.
I hate the
I'm
healthy sides
sorry.
of those menus, like at IHOP.
That's really. I have a horror movie that I'm working on called The Healthy Menu.
No way.
I do.
Are you sure that's not a commercial for like McDonald's? That sounds like a good commercial.
No, because it's bad.
Right.
Every delicious thing has been
Yeah.
replaced by something healthy in the world.
What I think is so great is that that's a movie that you're writing that doesn't have Franklin in it.
I didn't say that.
Fuck.
Oh, no.
Third act. Oh no!
Oh,
Who's behind
that
all these
late in the
ideas?
movie.
Who's behind all these ideas? They go into a big building. They run up a bunch of stairs. They go into a boardroom. Who's behind a big desk? Fred Franklin, and he's writing all of these contracts with a knife.
What a big desk, too.
Yeah.
I say my advice for young filmmakers when approaching a movie, don't be scared of the camera. Don't be scared of the sound. Don't be scared of the sound guy. That's something I had to learn, to not be scared of the things that you would shoot with. And when you're
You're afraid of the camera you're holding?
it's very scary what that box does. How does it do that?
Was there a sound guy that scared you too?
This guy, his name Cleo. He's so scary.
Oh, no. What
Don't
makes
even
him
wanna talk
scary?
about it.
Why did you scare you?
Yeah, what's
He
he?
just had the way, when the people around you are just like, that guy's giving me weird vibes, you know? So
Your goosebumps got so big. I've never seen
Look
bigger
look at
goosebumps on a
this.
person.
Yeah.
half,
Your
my
a,
God.
shirt is levitating.
half a centimeter goosebumps.
That
It's
is
a problem
crazy
I've had since a
stuff.
child.
That's crazy. It's like you're a gecko.
It's like I'm a gecko, which in Estonia we do not have geckos. We just have lizards. Very interesting. but really avoid those people that scare you on set because you're trying to make something.
Wow.
And overall, the last piece of advice I can give you is, try when you're doing it to go for the whole thing, but don't aim lower than that. And if you don't, then you can do it.
Okay, don't aim lower than the whole thing.
And if you don't, you can.
And if you don't, you can't do it.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that
Yes.
I'm going to write it down. I think maybe I'll understand it in the car on the way home.
You'll get it. It's the Kant.
Got it.
Okay.
It's the con. Okay. Well,
My advice to young filmmakers would be just make sure you have snacks. A lot of people don't have snacks on their set, and they get grumpy. The actor that plays Fred Franklin, the incredible James Anthony David Russo, an incredible, incredible actor.
Mm-hmm.
So good. I remember he almost left after the first movie because we didn't have any snacks. And you have to remember when you're shooting horror movies, it's a lot of people waiting. They're standing in a door. They're standing behind a ledge or in a closet. And then they have to wait for about 3 minutes. And then their whole action is they come out and they look around and then they go back. And it's creepy for us because, what is a surprising jump scare? But it's a lot of boredom for them.
Yeah.
So remember the tedium.
Yeah.
And that's why you got to get snacks.
I'd also say always have a safety meeting.
Oh, that's a good thing to do.
Oh, I heard about your movie.
Yeah, it was awful.
13 people died, right?
Yeah, no, it was during
The food fight scene. But
Yeah,
the
yeah.
food was filled with
well, thank God we had those
knives.
security guards with those big joints in their hand.
Mm.
And
they
they-
got to break
what
it
do
up.
you mean?
It turned
They
into a riot, is what I
huge
heard.
joints
well,
in their
thank
hand.
God.
I was like, guys, this movie, we have a lot of weapons. I need our security to be armed with huge, fatty joints.
There's no freaking way you guys call bats joints. There is absolutely no way.
What
we
is
don't
a
just-
bat?
yeah,
Like
we don't
flying,
call
like
it-
scary bat?
Like a baseball
Oh,
bat.
those are scary.
Baseball joint.
Well, that's a joint.
No,
What
a
do you-
joint is another thing I don't want to say on camera because I don't want to implicate myself.
Well, son, if you don't say it on camera, how the hell are we supposed to know what you're talking about?
Listen to the advice we had today. Look in the eye of what scares you the most and just do it.
That's
All
what I
right.
said.
All right. A joint is marijuana.
Huh?
Marijuana.
You know, reefer, Mary Jane, the green stuff. You guys have heard of this kind of thing. We used to smoke it all the time on set back when it was illegal. And now it's legal. I guess I shouldn't be so worried. I guess it's okay. I have a card. You can buy it at dispensaries. You guys heard of MedMen, Pineapple Express, Sweet Flower? You guys haven't heard of this kind of stuff? We're smoking weed all the time. You guys never heard of weed? You're telling me I'm the only person on this whole panel who's heard of weed. You guys have heard of weed. You don't have to smoke it. You don't have to smoke it, but you have to tell me that you've heard of it. Somebody tell me. If somebody please tell me. Somebody tell me. Somebody freaking tell me right now or I'm going to lose my mind. I'm the only person who's heard of weed on this panel. Am I in a horror movie myself? Is Fred Franklin going to come around the corner and stab me in the face or the throat with a knife?
This has been Artist on Artist on Artist on Artist answering the question. Now that's why they call it showbiz. Good night, Hollywood.
Artists on Artists on Artists on Artists is an improvised Hollywood Roundtable podcast created, performed, and produced by Kylie Brakeman, Jeremy Colhane, Angela Giratana, and Patrick McDonald. AOAOAOA is a Sugar 23 podcast. Mike Mayer and Michael Sugar executive producers, Liam Billingham producer. Production support by Angelo Restaino and Anthony Defranchesco. Music is by Gabriel Ponton. The opinions expressed on this podcast do not reflect the opinions of anyone who works on it, not even the performers, because this is an improvised podcast and we're stupid. Full video versions of AOAOAOA are available on YouTube, so please like and subscribe and leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. That's all for now. Good night, Hollywood!